Welcome to Maths with Bob. Today we're looking at the 3-minute series solving quadratic equations by completing the squares method, and this is the first problem here, x squared plus 4x minus 7 equals 0. Now I guess one of the first things is when you're solving quadratic equations, obviously you can't factor out an x here, so you need some techniques. There's obviously the quadratic formula, or sometimes you can factor them and solve them, but we're looking at completing the squares method today, and so we need to complete the square on that x squared plus 4x basically. So let's actually have a look how we do that. Okay, here we go. Now, so the first thing is, what do we do? Well, we're going to move the 7 across. Okay, so we're going to move the 7 across. I always do this. You don't actually have to do this first, but I always find it's easier to look at what you need to complete the square on and isolate it, basically, the x squared plus the 4x. So you put the 7 on the other side, or whatever number it happens to be on the other side. Now, what you have to do is you have to say to yourself, well, I need to complete the square. Now, what in the world does that mean? Well, it means that I need to have something squared. I need to somehow or other express x squared plus 4x as something squared. Well, I can use the old binomial expression x plus 2 all squared, you can see here, and that would give me x squared plus 4x, but the trouble is it generates a little bit extra called 4, obviously 4 in this case. So we need to subtract off the 2 squared, or subtract off the 4, I guess you could say. So the technique is basically what you do is you look at the coefficient of the x, you halve it, okay, you put it into the completed square, complete the square, then you subtract off obviously half of that coefficient squared, so in this case minus 2 squared, right? So that's the actual technique, because then basically x squared plus 4x does actually equal this thing here, x plus 2 all squared minus 2 squared. That is actually really just x squared plus 4x, right? So you've actually got an expression with a complete square in it. Then you move obviously the minus 2 squared or 4 across the other side to make it 11. You then take the square root of both sides, x plus 2 equals plus or minus root 11, and then you end up getting the two solutions. X is equal to minus 2 plus root 11, and x is equal to minus 2 minus root 11. Okay, so it does take a bit of getting used to. Now you can see here, I'll just grab one of these pens, that basically the two solutions, obviously here, you can see here and here, okay, minus 5.32, which is obviously this one, okay, which one's that one? This is this one, okay, and the 1.32 is obviously this one over here. Okay, and you can see here that this is when we actually solve quadratic inequations or inequalities. This is one of the techniques, I suppose, of getting these zeros if you want to find out, you know, obviously where the quadratic is, well, in the case positive or negative. And well, thank you very much for watching. And